where we strive to uncover the secrets to authentic happiness and meaningful living. I'm your host, Dr. Isi Kwedu, and I'm so glad you're here. The holiday season is upon us. And today we're diving into a topic that warms the heart and uplifts the soul, and that is generosity. Now, whether it's a small act or a grand gesture, giving is at the core of what makes this time of year so magical. But let me ask you this. When was the last time you gave something? Your time, a gift, or even just a smile, and it brought you unexpected joy? Today we'll explore why giving is so powerful. We'll share some inspiring stories and offer practical, low-stress ways you can embrace generosity this season and beyond. So grab a cozy drink and let's get started. So let's start with the science, because yes, generosity isn't just good for the soul, it's good for your brain too. Did you know that when you give, your brain releases chemicals like dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin? These are the same chemicals responsible for feelings of happiness and connection. In fact, researchers call it the helper's high. It's that rush you feel when you know you've made someone's day a little bit brighter. And here's the best part. You don't have to give a lot to feel these amazing effects. Generosity comes in many forms. Sure, there's donating money or buying gifts. But have you ever thought about just giving your time, your attention, or even just your kindness? Sometimes the simplest acts, like listening to someone who's had a tough day or helping a neighbor with groceries, are the most impactful. I love stories of generosity. They remind me of the incredible capacity humans have to care for one another. So let me share a story that moved me deeply. A few years ago, there was a man who started paying off random strangers' layaway items at a department store during the holidays. He remained anonymous, but his small act of kindness inspired others to do the same. And before long, an entire community came together to make sure no one went without gifts that year. Or take the story of the young girl who, instead of receiving gifts for her birthday, asked her friends and family to donate to a local food bank for the holidays. She ended up feeding hundreds of families. Acts like these ripple through our communities, creating a wave of kindness that's truly contagious. And I'll never forget one particular moment of giving in my own life. I had a patient who had fallen on some hard financial times, but who needed extensive dental work. Without thinking too much about it, I gave her the gift of a new smile. Her tears and hugs of gratitude filled me with so much joy. It more than filled me up and warmed my heart. And if that wasn't good enough, this grateful lady went on to become my biggest cheerleader and unexpectedly referred me so much business. I was completely blown away by how the universe exponentially blesses acts of kindness and brings incredulous joy and feelings of purpose. It taught me that generosity doesn't just change the recipient's life, it transforms the giver too. I want to share another story that perfectly captures the power of generosity, not just as a one-time act, but as a force that can unite and uplift an entire community and the whole world. In 2013, a 5-year-old boy named Miles Scott had one wish: to be Batman for a day. Miles had been battling leukemia, and when the Make-A-Wish Foundation heard about his dream, they decided to make it a reality. But this wasn't just any wish. This turned into a global movement of kindness and generosity. On November 15th, 2013, the city of San Francisco transformed into Gotham City. Miles, dressed as Batkid, took to the streets, accompanied by an adult Batman, to fight crime and save the day. He rescued a damsel in distress, stopped a bank robbery, and even caught the Penguin and the Riddler. Thousands of people came together, 16,000 volunteers to be exact, to make this dream possible. The city's mayor presented Miles with a key to the city, and news of his heroic day spread across the world. What's so beautiful about this story is that it wasn't just about fulfilling one boy's wish. It was about the way generosity, big or small, can ripple out and create joy for everyone involved. Those volunteers gave their time. Thousands of strangers lined the streets to cheer him on. And everyone who witnessed the story, whether in person or online, was reminded of the incredible impact of coming together to create something meaningful. But generosity doesn't have to be grand. But this story shows that when we give selflessly, we create a moment of magic, not just for the person receiving, but for everyone who gets to be part of it. So, as you think about your own acts of generosity this week and this holiday season, I encourage you to reflect on the ripple effect your kindness might have. You never know whose life you're touching or how far your actions will go. Stories like Miles's remind us that generosity doesn't just stop with the person receiving. It creates a ripple effect that touches lives in ways we can't always see. Now you might be thinking, I don't have the resources to orchestrate something as grand as transforming a whole city into Gotham. And that's okay. Generosity doesn't have to be extravagant to be meaningful. In fact, it's often the small, heartfelt gestures that have the biggest impact. So let's bring this idea closer to home. What's one simple act of kindness or generosity you could give this week or this holiday season? Maybe it's as small as writing a thank you note, buying a coffee for the person behind you in line, or offering a listening ear to a friend who's going through a rough time. So in the next segment, I'll share some practical ways you can embrace generosity this holiday season without breaking the bank and without overwhelming yourself, because generosity should feel good, not stressful. Stay tuned. One of the hidden benefits of generosity is its ability to reduce stress. Studies show that giving shifts our focus from ourselves to others, breaking the cycle of overthinking and helping us feel more grounded. Intentional giving reduces the pressure to do it all, and I encourage you to focus on meaningful, simple acts of generosity instead of overwhelming yourself with perfectionism. Now, let's be real. The holidays can be stressful. From shopping lists to family gatherings to corporate events, there's often a lot of pressure to make everything perfect. But here's a reminder. The magic of the season isn't about perfection. It's about connection and joy. When we shift our focus to what we can give, whether it's time, kindness, or even just our presence, we begin to ease the burden of those expectations. So here are some practical tips for managing holiday stress. Integrating these tips into the practical ways that you practice generosity. Firstly, set boundaries and prioritize self-care. Generosity starts with being kind to yourself. If you're feeling overwhelmed, it's okay to say no or to delegate tasks. You simply cannot pour from an empty cup. Remember that. Secondly, give yourself the gift of time. Build moments of peace into your day, whether it's a 10-minute walk, a cup of tea, or a mindfulness practice. These little resets can make a world of difference. Thirdly, simplify gift giving. Instead of expensive or elaborate gifts, consider personalized or handmade ones, or even a heartfelt letter of gratitude. It's often more meaningful than any store-bought item. And lastly, practice gratitude. When stress creeps in, pause and reflect on what you're thankful for. Gratitude helps shift your perspective and can instantly lighten the mental load. Managing your stress benefits those around you, because when you take care of your mental well-being, you show up as your best self for others. That in itself is a generous act. Your calm presence might just be the most valuable gift you give this season. So I challenge you to combine acts of giving with stress relief. This week, I challenge you to give something meaningful, whether it's your time, a kind word, or simply your presence. And while you're at it, give yourself the gift of peace. You deserve it. So how can you embrace generosity this season? It's easier than you think. Here are just a few simple ideas. Pay for the coffee of the person behind you in line. Write a heartfelt thank you note to someone who's made an impact in your life. Donate items you no longer use to a local shelter. Volunteer at a community center or spend time with someone who's lonely this season. Most importantly, make it meaningful. Generosity isn't about the size of the gesture. It's about the love and intention behind it. When you give from the heart, it creates a connection that lasts far beyond the moment. So here's a challenge for you. Commit to one act of generosity this week. It doesn't have to be big, just something that comes from the heart. Share your experience with me on social media or in the comments for this episode. I'd love to hear how it made you feel. So as we wrap up today's episode, remember this. Generosity is the gift that keeps on giving. It enriches your life, it deepens your connections, and fills your heart with joy. I'll leave you with one of my favorite quotes from Mother Teresa, which is, "It's not how much we give, but how much love we put into giving." Thank you for joining me today on The Smile Code. If this episode resonated with you, please subscribe. Share it with someone who might need a little inspiration, or leave a review. Your support means the world to me. So until next time, keep smiling and keep spreading joy. See you soon.